Hello, hello. Welcome to story time. I have got my little friend here. This is Charlotte. She's a tarantula, but she's not a real spider. She's just a puppet. But I want to read a story to you about a spider. So I'm going to put Charlotte down and I'm going to read you a story that I wrote. This is my newest book called River of Light. The golden shaft of light beckoned to Spider. He had never seen anything like it. The dark gloom of the cellar was all he had ever known. When the bit of chinking in the stone wall had fallen away, this marvelous stream of brightness had spilled in and instantly changed Spider's life. At first, Spider was content to just watch the beam of light. It was fascinating to see how it moved across the cobbled floor as the day wore on. The first time it had disappeared, Spider felt his heart shatter into a million pieces. Where had it gone? What would he do without it? When it had appeared the next day and then the next, he'd relaxed. Perhaps it would always come. Spiders live in damp, dark places. His parents had always scolded him when he complained of being cold and hungry. Our family has always lived in dungeons and cellars and always will. Get used to it. So Spider had resigned himself to the fact that since he was a spider, he would forever shiver in the darkness because that was what spiders did. Spider absent-mindedly munched on a crispy old cricket he had sucked dry of fluid many days before and watched the light from the safety of his web. "You aren't thinking about going down there, are you?" A soft voice hissed from behind him. Spider spun around. It was Black Widow, a dangerous spider who also lived in the cellar. Spider shivered whenever she was near because although she was very polite, Spider knew she had eaten her last 5 husbands for lunch. "Yes," Spider whispered. "I can't see that golden river very clearly from here. Even with 8 eyes, my sight is very poor." Black Widow thoughtfully stroked the red hourglass marking on her stomach. "Nothing good can come of it," she said. "Spider, stay away from the light. But go if you must. I won't stop you." Spider nodded and backed to the edge of his web. With a quick glance behind, he lowered himself silently to the ground on a delicate wisp of spun web. His 8 soft legs stretched towards the light. The beam appeared to flow right out from between the stones. Curiosity drew him towards the source. Spider crept closer and closer to the wall until he reached the opening where the chinking had fallen away. As soon as he had passed through the stone wall, he was transported to a world filled with color, light, and sound. He sat in awe, poised on the lip of the opening. You see him up there? From the moment he stepped into the beam, Spider knew he would never return to his web in the dark, damp corner. After spending his entire life in the gloom of the cellar, the golden light dazzled his eyes, and the gentle cocoon of sunshine surrounded him like a fuzzy blanket. For the first time in his life, Spider was warm. "Hey!" a voice called to him from behind the darkness of the cellar. "Don't go out there." It was one of the big wolf spiders that prowled for his prey in the great expanse of the cellar. "Get back in the cellar where you belong. Spiders only live in the darkness and gloom. You have no business going outside." "Why? Oh, why can't spiders live out in this glorious place? He cried in frustration. Why must I always be cold and wet and hungry? He sniffed once or twice in self-pity. I live here, a voice said softly from amongst the ferns, and I am a spider. Spider drew in his breath and peered below to see 8 lovely eyes shining back at him. It was a spider, a beautiful black and yellow one, sitting in the center of a large web. How can this be? Spider asked. Spiders are supposed to live in dungeons and cellars. We have always lurked in the drafty corners in the damp, empty darkness. We are spiders, and therefore must always be cold and wet and hungry. There's Spider with his new friend. Nonsense, the yellow spider snorted. I'm a garden spider. I have always lived amongst the flowers and the greenery. Spiders are everywhere, not just in dark, creepy places. Look there. She gestured towards what looked to be a large puddle of water. That is the pond, she said. There are even spiders that spend their entire lives under the water. So if we look really closely, we can see a spider here. We can see a spider here. And we can see one of those fishing spiders right by the lake. There are fisher spiders and hunting spiders, spiders who burrow into the ground and peek out from trap doors. Big spiders, little spiders, poisonous spiders, and timid little grass spiders. Spiders are everywhere. In fields, woods, swamps, deserts, and caves, you will find spiders. What would I eat here? Spider asked eagerly. There's always plenty to eat, Garden Spider explained. Flies and moths, crickets and hoppers. It's a regular buffet in the summertime. My family has always lived in the cellar, Spider said sadly. I have never known such beauty and warmth existed. I cannot bear to go back and live in the darkness now. He shivered with the thought. Then don't, Garden Spider said with a shrug. But cellar spiders have never left the cellar, Spider said. Then be the first, she replied. I will miss my brothers, the great wolf spiders, and even Black Widow, Spider said thoughtfully. You can always visit, the Garden Spider said gently. Build your web right there where you are between the chinking in the stones. You can come and go as you please. Play in the garden when the sun shines and return to the cellar to see all your friends at night. You can bring them a fat, juicy moth for breakfast. Spider smiled. Perfect, he said. And you know what? It was. So I just wanted to read you River of Light, and I wanted you to know how amazing our little spider friends are. When a spider walks, it always has 4 legs touching the ground and 4 legs off the ground at any given moment. And even though they have 6 or 8 eyes, they can't see very well. And it's estimated that there are 1 million spiders living in 1 acre of land, and as many as 3 million per acre in the tropics. Spiders have blue blood, and they eat more insects than bats and birds combined. So if you see a spider lurking in a little bit of a web in your house, maybe just get a little piece of paper and scoop them and put them outside, because spiders are our friends. I hope you liked River of Light. Mwah.